As many of you did when the Nintendo Switch 2 was announced, I was very excited and ready to blindly purchase what it looked to be the true next-gen Nintendo experience, and in a way it is. The Switch 2 feels great in hand, and it still surprises me how well it performs while being as thin as it is. Games run smoothly, and even the store section saw a massive improvement from the previous generation, and that alone makes it a lot better, which is crazy that the Switch 1 was that bad on that aspect. But here we are with a more powerful handheld, but I still get the feeling that something is missing. While it's definitely an improvement, I can't help myself but to use my Steam Deck instead for the most part. As much as I love what I've gotten to experience with the Switch 2, the problem I have is game availability. Lately, there has been a couple of good releases, but when it comes to third-party games, it's hard for me to justify buying it for the Switch when I also have the Steam Deck OLED that objectively gives me a better gaming experience in that area. Games perform a bit better, and of course, the incredible inky blacks are hard to beat, but obviously as the original Switch in the past, this console is not about the performance, as this has never been Nintendo's strength, and we all know that. Everything is about their games and that experience that brings you back to the past, and if I'm honest with you, nothing has been particularly interesting as of lately. Many of the games that are quote-unquote heavy hitters are just upgraded versions from the original Switch, and yeah, they perform better, but it's not really upgrade worthy in my opinion. Although not everything has been bad, Mario Kart World has been amazing to play with friends, and even though as a single player experience it's not really that great, especially for the money, it's a hard game to beat when it comes to playing local multiplayer with friends and family. I can easily spend hours competing with friends while enjoying a night with good food and drinks, and for that alone I think it's worth having it. And also games like Pokemon CA, and before you say anything, I know that from the outside perspective it's a bad game, and the reality is that that's true in a way. Especially after experiencing Power World, you get to see how little effort Game Freak is doing on these games and basically putting its value in nostalgia. And the thing is that for me, that little thing works, and somehow it made me spend the $70 this game costs just to see those old Pokemons once again in a different world. You also have the Zelda games, and for someone that didn't finish Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch 1, it's an absolute incredible experience here with better graphics and performance. I can deny that, it's definitely a lot better to play here and it feels like a next-gen console, but it's really hard to justify a new console that doesn't offer new games, because at that point just get a Steam Deck. You know, it's a better option for most people, and you can play those old games arguably at a better performance too. The Switch 2 is very thin, which makes it quite impressive when it comes to how well it performs. Obviously, its design makes it more comfortable to carry around when traveling, and even for someone that travels often like me, it makes a huge difference when deciding between the Steam Deck and the Switch 2, making the Switch the preferred option most of the time just because of the thinness alone. Now, even with its new design and being significantly wider than the original Switch, I still think that it's the most uncomfortable handheld in the market, making grips almost a must-have accessory. The one I use here is from Savage Raven, and honestly, for the price, it's hard to beat, and I also think it adds to how good the console looks while making it much more comfortable to hold, and even with a case, it's slimmer than my Steam Deck, so I still make it my go-to when traveling most of the time. The only thing is that if you want to dock your Switch, you have to remove the case, but it's not a big deal for me, especially because of how easy it is to remove and install. So honestly, not a big deal if you want to purchase this for yourself. I don't know about you guys, but I personally enjoy handheld gaming the most when I'm in bed, and obviously having one that is comfortable adds to the experience after a long day of work. As someone that is trying to remodel a house, I find enjoyment in high quality furniture that looks good and also is easy to put together like this one. This is the Joinery Japanese Bed frame from FlexiSpot, and it basically mixes a very elegant minimal approach with a traditional Japanese take into the assembly process. So instead of using hardware to put the pieces together, the design allows you to assemble everything by sliding each piece of solid wood into slots that locks everything by shape. I think it's a very smart design, and building it will ruin any other experience outside of this one because it's extremely easy to put together. If you're worried about how it will support weight well, each leg is pretty solid at 3.5 inches wide, covering a good area, providing a really good structural integrity to the bed. You also have the crossbeam reinforcement at the base with small Velcro pads that help a lot with the noise in all bed activities, while also supporting up to 1,500 pounds. All of that with a lifetime warranty and a timeless design that has been proven over the years. FlexiSpot also makes nightstands. This one here are the Kana models, and I honestly love their design and how they add to the look I've been trying to find for my home. They also come fully assembled, so there's no need to worry about using any tools at all. If you want to try any of these products and work on some home improvements, check the link in the description below, and thanks to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. Now let's talk about the battery, and just like I said in my first couple of videos, the battery is not the best, but for the type of gamer that I am, it kind kind of works decently. I never have gaming sessions that are long enough for me to have to run to a charger. For the most part, the Switch either sits on my desk or on the dock fully charged, so whenever I want to use it, it'll last me at least a good 2 to 3 hours depending on the game that I'm playing. The Steam Deck, on the other hand, is not necessarily a battery beast, but taking in consideration I get to play more demanding games with similar battery performance, it says a lot about which one I prefer to use when I'm at home. I can deny that the Switch 2 is an incredible console because it is, but for a gamer like me, at least until Nintendo releases more exclusive games, especially Dustplots, I will default more to my trusty Steam Deck. But the question is, should you invest your money into the Switch 2 at this precise moment? Well, check the game library first and look at what's available at the moment, and if you're cool with that, then yes. But also, if you haven't played most of those big titles we had on the original Switch, it will be even a better experience to experience this game now on the Switch 2 that run better frame rates, better performance. So I think overall, if you haven't played the original Switch and this is gonna be the first one, it's gonna be a good decision that I think you will not regret. Now, if none of them relates to you, I'm gonna tell you the same thing you probably heard in many other videos, which is just get a Steam Deck. Thanks so much for watching the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.
Tonight I'm gonna take you out.